to go to Marisa Garcia, who is actually somebody who is affected by the state elimination penalty. She received a ticket for a marijuana pipe found in her car, but she never thought that it would cost her future financial aid. But during the process of filing for aid for her upcoming freshman year at California State University, Fullerton, she found out that this minor offense was enough to do just that. Being raised by a single mother with 3 siblings, losing financial aid posed a major challenge for her.
Hi, I'm Marisa Garcia. I'm from Southern California. As Tom said, I was about to start my first semester at Cal State Fullerton, and I started in the fall. No, actually I started in the spring. So in January, I got caught with a small pipe with drug residue, and I honestly didn't think they were going to give me a ticket for it, because in my eyes I only had paraphernalia, but they did give me a possession marijuana ticket, and it was my first and only offense. I went to court, I pled guilty, and figured I'd pay my fine, and that would be done. Well, however, a few months later, I got my financial aid form sent back. And it had a question that my mom had filled it out, and she had left the question blank. And the question was, do you have a drug conviction, or have you been convicted of a drug conviction? And at the time, I still didn't think it applied to me. I thought, I got a possession of marijuana ticket, yes, but I didn't think that that would be something that I could potentially lose my financial aid for. So I called the hotline that they had to see if you had any questions, and they told me, yes, you pled guilty, you were convicted, you're not going to receive financial aid for school. And I was just shocked. My mom obviously was very upset. I thought that I had made this huge mistake that was going to ruin my access to education. I have 3 brothers. It's just my mom, and they're all college age. We're all ranging from 30 to 23. So we really rely heavily on financial aid. It's pretty much impossible for us to get college without it, being that we're middle class and there's so many of us. So at the time I was just thinking, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to drop out of school. So basically I was just going to start working more hours. I asked my boss if I can get a raise, and he gave it to me, and told me, whatever hours, I wanted to make it happen. And fortunately, my mother was in the middle of refinancing the house at the time, so she was able to have a little bit of extra money to give me, so I didn't have to actually drop out that semester. Without her refinancing the house, it wouldn't have been possible. And she actually let me put my books on her credit cards, and we just made it work. And when I first came into contact with Students for Sensible Drug Policy, I was still thinking that, I made this horrible mistake, and I didn't really think critically about the law. It wasn't until I met them that I started to realize that I had been affected by a horrible law that was aimed at people like me, aimed at people who relied on financial aid, and that I was being punished twice. I had already got a misdemeanor on my record. I paid over $400 in fines, and now, my access to education there's a roadblock in front of it. And they had an option where it said, because they say that this policy is aimed to help people. And there was a rehabilitation option that said if you went to a federally approved rehab center, that you could potentially get your aid earlier, get it reinstated. So I called numerous facilities in my area, and I found that most of them were 6-month live-in programs, and the cost was more than my tuition. And the only way I'd be able to receive aid to help pay for it would be to quit my job. And I was making minimum wage at the time, which was, I think, like $6.25. I wasn't, really in the upper class at all. So I'd have to quit my job and go to a rehab center for a problem I don't think I have. I don't think I have a drug problem. So I would just go, just to get my aid. And morally, I felt like I would be taking the spot of someone who might really need it. So I didn't choose to do that. They say it's an option there, but really I don't think it's an option for many people, because if you can't afford to pay for your tuition, you probably can't afford the rehab. So I did try that and found that wasn't an option. And basically just began speaking out about it, working with SSDP and just telling people my story so that they can realize that this is affecting people, and I'm one of the lucky ones. I didn't have to drop out of school, fortunately, but I really do believe that this is bad policy. It cannot be fixed. Denying access to education as a punishment is just ridiculous. It's basically just holding people back. People who are trying to better themselves are being told, no, you made this mistake and you can't go to school, you're not good enough for our money, And I just really feel that a full repeal is necessary. They can't fix this law, it's just bad policy, and it needs to change before it affects more people.